After being stuck at the same body fat percentage for years, I was finally able to get the knowledge needed to achieve a toned physique and get into the best shape of my life. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what it is that I did so that you too can get into the best shape of your life. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Quajo. I'm an aspiring singer, songwriter who's performed in front of thousands. I'm also an online fitness coach with a specialty in body recomposition. Merging both of my worlds together, I'm pretty well familiar in body image and confidence, and that's how I help busy professionals get into the best shape of their lives. So without the long talking, let's get straight into it. How to break through a fat loss plateau and get toned. So prior to me being able to achieve the physique that I have now and have the definition, I was stuck at a certain body fat percentage where I had mass, I had muscle. I just wasn't able to bring it down and keep that muscle so you could see the definition, you could see the cuts, you could see the six pack, and it was getting frustrating. That's my whole narrative. I've been in the gym for a very long time, since at a very young age, and it was more about discipline and consistency and just something to do. I wasn't really looking to make a grand change when I first started. But then after years, I was like, okay, I've been doing this for a while and I didn't really have a structure. I didn't have a goal. And I said to myself, I think it's time now that I start switching this and start like going to the gym for a goal and having new achievements that I want to reach. So I wanted to bring my body fat percentage down and I just didn't know how to do it. I was eating healthy. I was running. I was strength training. I just didn't have a structured approach, and that was getting frustrating over time. I invested in naturopathic doctors, meal plans. I asked a lot of people for information that wasn't customized to me, so it led to a lot of frustration over the years. And I had finally got the knowledge that was necessary for me to get into the low body fat percentage that I acquired, that I wanted, that made me happy. And once I started seeing those results, it was game over. Like, I've never gone back since then. That was in 2022, and I can never go back to eating however I want. So that being said, I want to give you guys that information so you too, if you're new here, this is your first time here, my goal is that you be in the best shape of your life, physically, mentally. However I can help you achieve that, that's what I'm all about. All right, so we're going to talk about how to break through a fat loss plateau and get toned. Okay, where is my marker? Number one. Okay. Again, I always apologize for my writing. Okay, this is an awkward position for me to be in, and my handwriting is not the best. Okay. Track your efforts and results consistently for a duration. Now, this is the first and this is the easiest way to start seeing results or realize if what you're doing is working for you. Tracking changed everything for me. Now, I understand that everybody doesn't like to track. And, I say if you're not tracking, you're freestyling. Now, tracking is not something that you have to do forever. Don't let it scare you and think you have to measure everything you eat. No. What tracking does and why tracking is a game changer, why I implement this into the program that I have and I use it to get my clients results on a week-to-week basis, is because it gives us data on what is working and what is not working. So we're not running in circles trying to attain a goal and we don't know the direction to move forward in week after week because we're freestyling. You guys are not rappers. You shouldn't be freestyling. You want to take a structured approach to your fitness and nutrition. Body recomposition specifically, it takes a while. It's not as fast as a a weight loss journey or a weight gain journey, a bulk or a cut. It takes a longer duration of time. So you want to make sure in that time that you're executing an efficient, structured approach, and you want to see results. So tracking changed the game for me. Now, what does tracking look like? That looks like monitoring the food. That looks like monitoring the food that you're consuming, okay? So what you could track, your food, your training, your sleep, okay? Your movement, right? Your stress levels. All these play a factor. But I'll tell you, if you want to start, where you want to start, the easiest to start with is your nutrition. That's usually the easiest, because when it comes to bringing the body fat down, we're talking about breaking through a fat loss plateau. When we're bringing the body fat down, it's usually a nutrition factor. This is 80% of your success, okay? And training is 20%. So you could be training your ass off until the cows start flying, but if you're not mastering your nutrition, then you're going to be pretty upset. All right? And I'm telling you that because I've been there before. So you want to track your food. Now, what does that look like for tracking your efforts and results consistently for a duration of time? All right, so first we're saying duration. We want to say 30 days, okay? I'm going to show you how to make a plan for yourself to see results and for you to know if it's working. 30 days, we say we're going to track our food. That means we're going to know the amount of calories that we're consuming. It doesn't really need to be on the macros, right? We're going to make sure that we're in a deficit or a surplus. Now, if we're in a deficit and we're in a surplus for 30 days, then our weight should drop or our weight should go up. If your weight does not drop or does not go up, you are not in a deficit or eating at a surplus. Most likely, you're at maintenance. Now, there could be some other factors. Your cortisol levels could be high. Testosterone. There could be some other factors, but I'm not going to go that deep into it. I'm just going to talk from a general basis. You want to make sure that you're in a deficit, you're in a surplus. Now, what people typically do, what you might be doing, what you might be experiencing is, I'm eating healthier. I've cut out some pop. I've cut out some sugar, and I'm eating more greens on my plate. That's cool. That's a good start. But that does not guarantee us a deficit, okay? You could be eating at 2,500 calories. You've made those adjustments, and now you're eating at 2550, right? It feels like you've made a difference, but something somewhere, sauces or whatever, it feels like you've made a big difference, but you really haven't. Or even if that's not the case, maybe you're eating at 2450. Negative 50 is not going to allow you to, that's basically eating at 2500, right? So it's just better for at least a period of 30 days to track and know 100% you're in a negative 250 or 500 deficit, lower than your maintenance calories, or you're in a surplus of 250, right? Now, how you could do that? MyFitnessPal. Okay? MyFitnessPal, you can figure out your maintenance calories. You go to tdeecalculator.com, right? You figure out your maintenance calories. It's gonna require you to put in your age, your weight, your daily activity, your height, and it will give you your maintenance calories. Then it'll show you what calories you should be eating if you want to cut or if you want to bulk. It'll give you that number. You take that number, you go to MyFitnessPal, you insert that for your daily amount of calories in MyFitnessPal. Then you track the foods that you eat and you make sure you stay either below that number or above that number. If you do that for 30 days, then you will see some change in your weight. Why people don't see change in their weight is because they don't do the tracking and they're estimating, they're guessing that they're in a deficit or in a surplus. It's usually not that case and they get frustrated. I don't have time to wait. I don't have time for the bullshit. I don't like getting frustrated. I feel like there's a strategy for everything in life. I always want to acquire that knowledge so I can make my life as simple as possible. Because when you wake up in the morning, there's always things that are making life hard from you wake up. Why would I decide to make my weight loss journey, my body recomposition journey harder than it needs to be when there's a strategic method for its approach? Why would I do that? It doesn't make sense. The only reason you're going to do that is because you're lacking funds and you don't want to pay for somebody to teach you how to do it, or you want to be delusional and keep doing what you're doing, hoping that one day that you're going to hit the lottery and it's going to change. You could do that, or you're just insane, because doing the same thing over and over again is insanity. So it's one of the three that you're suffering from. You got to figure out whatever it is for you. For me, it was a little bit of insanity. I'm going to keep it $100. It was a little bit of insanity. I was like, nah, I'm good in the gym. I've been here for a while. I'll figure this out. And then I just got tired. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go for help. And I had already went for help before prior. So I was like, I went for help. It didn't work this time. So why would it work next time? But like the great Elias said, if at first you don't succeed, dust your stuff off and try again. And that's what I did. And that's how I was able to track. So I started tracking. Now, when you start tracking in the beginning, it's not something that you have to do forever, right? I still tracked it today because I like to stay at a certain specific physique, but I don't have to track all the time. I do tracking like 75% of the time. And I could go out, I could eat whatever I want. It's one day. I stay in a deficit majority of the week. And I know now what measurements of food my body requires to stay at the physique that I like it at. Once you do that tracking for a while, you're going to get that knowledge. Remember the week before I talked about nutrition structure. Once you know your nutrition structure and then you graduate to tracking, you'll know, I know, okay, for breakfast, 125 grams of egg whites to 150, 2 eggs, 3 turkey bacons, bell peppers, avocado oil. That's going to keep me lean, a lean machine. And I have that knowledge because I've done the tracking for a while. I know 150 grams of quinoa with some mixed vegetables coming to about 200 grams, 170 grams of chicken breast, some beans, 50 grams. That's going to keep me at where I'm at. Okay, I know this now because it's second nature. 1 scoop of protein powder a day with 125 grams of Greek yogurt with another scoop of protein in the day. That keeps me at where I'm at. I don't even need to track that. I just know I have an idea of where that is, okay? So you're going to be able to get that too. So tracking was the number one thing that brought me to my fat loss, that allowed me to break through my fat loss plateau, my efforts and my results. Now, if you're going for 30 days and you see that you didn't change, there's no point of continuing what you're doing because it's not working. Now, because people don't do the tracking, they go for 30 days, nothing's changed, and they keep doing what they're doing. I don't want that to be you, right? So that's why tracking is important. And majority, like if you think about it, majority of the times, people are not being consistent with what it is that they need to do to get the result that they want to get. They think they're being consistent. Or out of 30 days, you might do 15. Or you might do every other day. Or you might do 3 weeks. But like really sit with yourself and say, I'm going to dedicate 30 days to doing something where I'm tracking. I'm doing something different for 30 days to see the data and to see if what I'm doing is working. And if not, then I know I need to tweak something. If you commit yourself to that, it's going to be a game changer for you. In the beginning, for me specifically, I was eating healthy foods. I was never not eating healthy foods. The only thing was that I was eating too much of the healthy foods. My rice was too much. My bread, I was eating a lot of bread. My protein, the chicken that I was eating wasn't enough. I thought I was having an adequate amount of meat a day. I wasn't. So once I started seeing that tracking and those numbers, I was like, oh, I got to bring my carb intake down. I got to bring my protein intake up. My fats was crazy. Sorry, guys. My apologies. The fats were crazy high. I had to bring that down. But I would have never realized that if I didn't track. So that's why that's important. And that's the first step. Now, the second game changer for me was hypertrophy training. Okay, so what I started realizing, I remember I was out in Miami and I was on Muscle Beach and I met a couple people. We were exchanging information. I was learning. I'm always keen on learning from people who have the physique that I want or have been doing what I wanted to achieve for a longer period than I have. So I was just, we're just going back and forth with knowledge, and this is when I learned about more specifically hypertrophy training and doing more reps, adding more reps into the training that I was doing as opposed to what I was used to. And I remember I started doing that in Miami, and I remember I came back to Atlanta and I was changing the way I was training and I was doing a lot more reps. I had dropped the weight. And I just killed the muscle fibers with increased reps. I remember I did that. So I had dropped the weight, and now this, you're going to have to fight your ego here, because you're like, I worked up my way to this amount of weight. I'm proud of it. I feel like I'm stronger. But when you want to see what worked for me was dropping the weight, increasing the reps, killing the muscle fiber. I tell you, my body started becoming way more defined. Like, it was evident. I didn't even need to step on the scale. I was looking in the mirror like, what's going on? Like, and I didn't know exactly what it was. And I remembered, I'm like, oh yeah, it's this training that I'm doing now. It's the more reps. So that's another thing. I just felt like I was utilizing more energy. I felt like I was sweating more. I felt like it was almost like incorporating cardio into my strength training, because when I'm doing like 15 to 20 reps, like, I'm doing it at a fast pace. I'm not doing it slow and controlled like I would do with the heavier weight. I'm speeding that up, and in doing that, it gave me the results that I was looking for. Okay, so that's what you want to make sure that you're doing as a way to break through your plateau. If you're at a fat loss plateau and you've been there for a while, you want to see different results, change your training method. Drop the weight, increase the repetitions that you're doing, do it at a quicker speed. Almost act like you're incorporating cardio into your strength training. And that's going to allow your muscle fibers to grow, but it's also going to be like cardio. It's going to be like another source of cardio, and it's going to bring your body fat percentage down. That works for me. And when I want to get really lean, that's what I do. That's what I do, as opposed to the heavier weight, which is going to add more strength. More strength, less. I'm sorry, I'm tripping. More weight, less reps is a strength training. Is a strength training method. It's a strength training tactic. So if you're focused on being more defined, you want to use hypertrophy training. Because growing your muscles is also going to allow you to look more leaner, right? The more muscle that you have on your body, it's going to allow you to look more leaner with weight loss from the cardio and from this type of training. So that's what I did that works for me there. Now, number 3, LISS versus running. So an error I was making in the beginning of my fitness journey was I was doing a lot of running. I was under the impression that the more I ran, the more body fat I would be able to lose. And that was incorrect. I would do runs outside. I would do runs with my boy Corey. We did a lot of running. And I just couldn't understand why I could not. Like, it was so frustrating, guys. I'm telling you. I'm doing all this running. My body fat percentage is not coming down. I'm not seeing more abs. I'm just realizing that I'm looking smaller overall. I'm just forming into a smaller human being. And I didn't like that. I was losing my size because I was going about it thinking the more I ran, the more I was going to be able to burn body fat. And that's incorrect. You don't want to do that. LISS is the best method for fat loss when it comes to cardio. If you do a high intensity steady state cardio, which is HIIT, you do it for a maximum of 20 minutes. Anything more than that, you're eating into your muscle fibers. You're eating into the mass. You don't want to do that. You're eating into your muscle mass. So what I started doing was, and now I'm doing low intensity steady state cardio right now more than I ever have before. Like, I've now incorporated it into my training. So I train 2 hours, 5 days a week, 1.5 hours for strength training, 30 minutes for cardio. And it's always a low intensity steady state cardio. And I've just been able to see myself, I burned 300 calories doing my low intensity steady state cardio for 30 minutes. And it just allows me to stay in like a consistent deficit. Like, it really brings my body fat down. Even when I do, and I'm strength training 1 hour and 30 minutes vigorously, consistently 5 days a week. So the muscle mass is really high. And therefore, when I do eat things that are sweet, or if I have any type of food that is a refined carb or not part of the nutrition structure, it's hard for it to stay on my body. It melts off because there's so much muscle mass there. There's so much cardio being done on a weekly basis, right? 3 times a week. I'm burning 300 calories in each 30-minute session. And even though 300 calories is not a lot to like a good amount of a decent food that you might like, that's 900 a week, right? In addition to my 500 deficit, my 500 a day calorie deficit added to my strength training deficit, because you're burning energy when you're doing strength training. So all those numbers together, it's like the fat can't stay on my body even if it wanted to. And that's why it's so important to strength train, so important to do your cardio, even for your cardiovascular endurance, walking up the stairs, being intimate with your partner, being able to have energy with your kids. They all play a factor. And then on top of that, just being able to be in a deficit with your nutrition, have that discipline, have that control. You don't always need to eat until you're full and 100% like your stomach is just full and it's on F all the time and you're satisfied. That's not necessary. You could always eat in a deficit. You just need the fuel to keep on going. Okay, so low intensity steady state cardio, I encourage you to do this as much as you can. That could range from going on a walk. I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and we talked about how he's sedentary at his job, and there's some days where he doesn't get that much movement. So we talked about what movement could look like for him, and we said a walk around the office, a walk on the treadmill earlier in the day. He works from home. A walk on the treadmill earlier in the day. Right now it's pretty cold outside, but when it's not cold outside, that could look like a walk around your block. I work from home as well, so sometimes like on a day where I don't go to the gym, I do have the treadmill in the house as well, but I might just get up and go for a walk around a couple blocks and just get some movement in. Okay, this movement every day as much as you can contributes to your fat loss. This is the best fat loss method. It's low intensity on the body. It doesn't need to be too vigorous. You don't need to hate it because there's so many ways in which you could do it. You could do it at your own pace, your own type that you like. A stationary bike, going for a walk, whatever type of physical activity you like doing that is really low impact on the body. Don't be doing a lot of running if you want to just lose fat. If you're a big body person and you want to shrink that a little bit, yes, you could do running. You could do HIIT for longer periods of time. That's what you want to execute. But if you pretty much fairly like the composition of your body, the frame in which it's in, but you just want to bring the fat loss down a little bit, be more toned, you're going to need to do LISS. Okay, you could do that on an incline of 10 and a speed of 2.2. That's a good range to start, keeping it simple. You could also do an incline of 11 and a speed of 3.3. That's what I do. That allows me to burn 300 calories, and it's nothing crazy. And I always feel way accomplished when I do that. So these are the methods that allow me to break through my fat loss plateau, bring my body fat percentage down, be more toned, okay, be in the best shape of my life. And that's what I want for you as well. So incorporate these 3 things into your structure or whatever it is that you do. You are going to see some significant results. And then I want you to either DM me on Instagram at BodyByQuay or send me an email at BodyByQuay and let me know how this works for you. Or you can come back to this video and leave a comment. I want to know how it works for you. And if you guys loved this video, then you're gonna love this video right over here where I talk about a nutrition structure customized to you. If you haven't seen that video yet, go out and check that video. You're gonna love it. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next episode. All right?